Welcome. In front of me is an OPPO Reno 12F, and I'll go over unboxing along with a quick look at the device just so we can see if there's actually an F there. Now, let's just get straight into it. One seal holding the box, so let's cut through this and pop it open. Typical OPPO unboxing, I would say. Hello, what's holding this? Anyway, and here we got a cable for charging. It's a Type A to Type C. Then we get a sim eject tool and a quick start guide and just some manual, warranty, whatever. Just pop that back in here, and then we get the phone itself, and that's, well, everything. As you can see, there's nothing else in here. So apparently OPPO is one of those companies that now decided, yeah, we care also about the environment. That's why we produce budget garbage devices year over year in ample amounts, but we care so much that, you know, dilithium is being mined by children, but we're not gonna give you a charger because we care so freaking much. It's kind of hard to believe this, you know. Anyway, let's boot it up. Now, truth be told, I wouldn't really care if a company was like, yeah, you know what, we don't care about the environment, but we care about profits. I would have much more respect for it, and I would be like, that, you know, that's fine. At least you had the balls to say it, instead of bullshitting everyone that, oh, you care about the environment. Let's be honest, no one does. They care about profits. Anyway, enough about the renting of this crap. Let's talk about the display right here, which we should see in a second, which is a 6.67-inch display running a resolution of 1080 by 2400. It is also an AMOLED display, 1 billion colors, 120 Hz refresh rate, and a peak brightness of 2100 nits. It can get pretty bright apparently. Now, the typical brightness actually is nowhere near that figure. So typical brightness is about 600 nits, which is something that you expect from like a budget to mid-range phone. Probably more like a mid-range. But like I said, it can cap out at 2100 apparently. I don't know the specific circumstances where it will use that. I think the brightness that you get when you go outside into the sun, it actually, I think, goes to like 1200 nits. So this is nearly double peak brightness, so I'm not sure where that is used. Anyway, it is also boasting a 86.9% screen to body ratio and 395 pixels per inch, covered with should I even attempt to try to pronounce this? Asahi Glass AGC TD Star 2, whatever that is. First time I'm seeing that. Now, I'll also mention that the info that I'm getting about this device is taken from GSM Arena, as they do have pretty clean layout of all of this info. Now, let's move on. So if we flip it over, we have what looks to be a triple camera setup, but already I can tell you that that's not a triple camera setup. There's one shit cam here, which is most certainly this one. And oh, look at that, looking at the specs, there it is. It's a 2 megapixel macro. Who would have seen that coming? So anyway, the main sensor that we will be using 90% of the time is the 50 megapixel f1.8 aperture 26mm wide lens with optical image stabilization and PDAF. Then we got a 8 megapixel f2.2 aperture 16mm 112 degree ultra wide lens, and like I mentioned, the 2 megapixel macro. Anyway, with those cameras, at least the main sensor primarily, you can record videos at 1080p, 30 and 60 with gyroscopic electronic image stabilization. And then at the front, we actually have a pretty substantial megapixel count right here, 32 megapixel f2.4 aperture, 22mm wide lens. And with that one, you can do 1080p at 30 frames. So nothing really substantial here. And you can see it in this whole punch camera. Now, if we move over to the internals, the device comes with a pretty beefy battery size at 5000 milliamps. It is a fairly slim device right here, just kind of putting it on the side just so you can see that. And it's not heavy, so it's nice that it has actually a substantial battery size right here. It also supports 45 watts charging speed with a cable, but obviously there was no charger provided in the box, so out of the box it supports nothing in terms of charging, because you can't charge it without a charger. So you get an incomplete package. Anyway, let's see if they manage to give us any kind of charging speeds. Oh, it just says that it supports power delivery 2.0 and reversed wired charging. Anyway, so in terms of battery, that's about it. Now moving on to the internals, we have a Dimensity 6300 processor powering this device with either 8 or 12 gigs of RAM. And if you go with the lowest spec version of this device, it will come with 256 gigs of storage and 8 gigs of RAM. That is, let me just quickly grab that, there we go. That is expendable using an SD card, which you can see right here. Come on. Oh, there we go. You can see this tiny little icon right here in the corner. So you can plop in additional storage in here, probably up to like terabyte, half a terabyte of storage as an SD card. So that's pretty good. Now, if you want to spec out this device, you can go for half a terabyte with 12 gigs of RAM. All of these options come with UFS 2.2 storage type, so it's not going to be great compared to obviously other devices. You might probably get a better deal by going with a used flagship device from like a couple years back that will have better specifications in terms of storage, RAM, and the storage speeds compared to this one. Okay, now anything else left that I didn't mention? It looks like that's almost about it. One more thing, this device is running Android 14, so the newest one so far, with ColorOS 14 skin over it. And with that being said, when I was talking about, for instance, going for a used device, that's one of the drawbacks of a used device. Depending on how old that device is, it might not be getting any kind of new updates to newer Androids, and also it might not get any kind of new security patches, depending on what brand you go for. But for the most part, if it's like a year to maybe 2 years, you should still be, at least with security patches, good for like 2 more years possibly. So just wanted to point that out. Samsung, I think, and obviously Pixels are the best options right here when it comes down to the longevity of the device with security patches, if you want to save up some money and just go for a used flagship device. Anyway, last thing to mention would be the price tag of this device, and let's see if I can actually find it, as it's not mentioned right here. So I'm just gonna do a quick search, and we're looking at base model, which costs what is that, $300, I think? No, more, about 400. Okay, so it's retailing in basically a store equivalent to something like a Best Buy for 1,399 PLN, which equates to $363. Now, with that being said, I can already tell you that this isn't the greatest value for your money, as there are other options from a company that I think, personally, I have more respect towards, rather than like the OPPO brand. It's just personal preference right here, possibly. But also give you this kind of recommendation for people that maybe want to look for something that might be better and cheaper. And that would be the Nothing phone, specifically the CMF Phone 1. And just to kind of go over this, just quickly search for it, CMF. There we go. There is only one of them at the moment. It came out not too long ago as well, so it's a relatively new device. Obviously, that will be good for the security patches and Android updates. So, with that being said, in terms of displays, they're going to be using almost the same kind of size of display and resolutions and refresh rates, so not much difference there. In terms of peak brightness, again, just about 100 nits shy of what this one supposedly maxes out at, so 2000. Other than that, about screen to battery ratio, pixel density is about the same, battery size the same, 6 to 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is fine, I do want to point that out. But what's improved here is the processor, which is the Dimensity 7300. So it's a one step higher in terms of, it's basically a mid-range processor compared to this one, which is more like a budget processor from Dimensity. So 600 or 6000 series is I think the lowest that they offer right now. And then you have the 7 and also the 800. I think there actually might be also doing the 9 or 9. When I'm saying 900, I mean 9000 or thousands, not hundreds. So yeah, there's the 6000, 7000, and I believe 8000 or 9000. So this one, the one that nothing phone has, the CMF Phone 1, is going to be way more powerful than what you have right here, which obviously for longevity of the device will be a better thing, considering this device will just plow through all the tasks that you throw at it for basically longer time, I would say, as if an application in the future starts to be more demanding, this phone will have the power to go through that demand. And additionally, it's also cheaper. So the CMF Phone 1 costs about £200. I just say $250 probably. So it is cheaper than this, while offering basically what I could argue is a better package than this device offers. And I just have more faith in CMF phones, or Nothing brand in general, as it seems to be more premium and just doesn't seem to want to completely fleece you out of your money. So highly recommend checking that out if you are not like super invested into this brand. Anyway, with that being said, hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.